Okie dokie. Let's see here. Pokey wokey on what's going on here. What I might do is get rid of some of this stuff down here. Maybe it's just like just too much. Oh, not the web. Let's get rid of that. See on how if this does a little bit better job here. I truly do apologize. I'm trying to clearly something wrong with I don't know if it's just YouTube because again I've been having issues with the internet, but we've had crazy wind here. Hopefully this is somewhat operational here. Maybe not. I wasn't able to get the other stream out because it was already canceled. So I'm just gonna go talk to myself. If people want to come in and join, that's fantastic. What I'm looking at here is going to be looking at the futures market. We of course already see the S&P 500 up nearly 0.5%. We have the Nasdaq ever up so slightly, only up about 20 basis points here. So basically just about a 1/5 of a percent here overall here. And then of course we have the Russell just taking a swing at the market here, and we're seeing it up basically 1.5% in the futures market. So that is a pretty large, fantastic move for them there as well. What's up, Em? How you doing, my friend? Thank you for stopping by. I had to restart the stream a number of different times, so hopefully people are coming back in here and able to learn something, so we can have some fun. I'm going to kind of keep this going as much as I can before the things start crapping out here again and things like that. So we can just kind of take a looky-loo here. Again, the Russell is really what a lot of people are talking about, on the sense of like what the Russells has been really clearly taking us higher here, and it has been a little bit choppy here in the last couple days, and sort of more like the last couple weeks here, basically since the beginning of February. But it hasn't really seen the substantial pullback like we saw with the Nasdaq and a lot of the growth stocks. So we're really looking to see on how that is tied into the overall market here. So the Russell being more of the smaller cap stocks, so lower market caps, really more diverse group in regional banks, oil companies, energy companies, and a lot of factors around that. So that's really what the Russell is broken down into. Of course, you have the Nasdaq, which is more growth and larger technology firms. So yeah. Fuzzy Dice says, I'm here for the wheel. Yes. Yeah, we can do the wheel in a little bit for sure. It's been a long time, K Thunder. Well, it's been a while. It's been, I don't know what's last live stream was a week ago, right? I wasn't able to get one out this week due to the fact of a lot of just work. But we are having, hopefully we'll do someone like a live stream midweek this upcoming week, so to kind of look at things and so forth. But we're really just having internet issues here in Virginia because we're having these crazy windstorms, and I think they're just kind of slowly getting things back up or operational here, because again, I've seen a pretty substantial hit on my upload speeds for a lot of my internet stuff. I usually would get plus 50 megabits, but I'm not seeing anywhere near that. Looking at Tiger and Piton. Yeah, Tiger. Yeah, these are, you get some, those are pretty heavy growth names there. So Tiger, which is like a Chinese financial company, if I remember right here, K Thunder. That is something that we literally need to kind of look at here. Has been beaten down. It is trying to make a comeback here, trying to get back above the 21 EMA in the overall trend here. This is something that I'm not really too impressive with, because again, we've had, it literally was trading like a $2 or $3 stock, and it just ran all the way up to $38, $40, and now it's slowly coming back down here. So I'm a little bit more hesitant on it, but we'll maybe get a short-term bounce. I don't know the full fundamental story behind this stock, but it could be something interesting. Again, I don't know the whole story behind it, but it is kind of potentially getting a short-term bounce around $16, and maybe get that little move back up to 20, and really want to see it above 25, because we saw on that first move down, it kind of went back up and failed at the dead cat bounce, came right back down, and it actually broke lower than a previous move was. So it really needs to prove itself here to try to get back above $20 here. So on that note, Piton, that's a different one, a different note on this one. This, of course, has also been one that has been more of like a resurgence of like a stay-at-home play here. I'm trading on fundamentals, though. It doesn't have real valuation. Okay. That probably makes sense then. So with Piton as well, Piton very much kind of coming back into this choppy market here. Actually, I thought I highlighted this. So if you look at this zone here, and then you kind of look at this zone here, it looks somewhat similar here, right? Like it's kind of just trading, meandering kind of around the 21 EMA, and it's looking at those different markers that around those prices here. As you can see here, it did break from that previous support level here around 122 to 123 and broke higher here. So if we break above 123 here again, because we do have a squeeze setting up here, but we need to see a little bit more volume coming in here to really see that kick higher above 123 and get that movement higher to get back up to 140, even back up to 150 here. But we have seen a lot of damage come in here with this very aggressive move down. Is it because people don't believe in the growth stocks, or people are just not like, hey, it's not a stay-at-home play anymore? I don't know what people are thinking on that sense, because that's going to be a crazy mind game to look at. It's really good. It's going to come down to earnings, how many more subscribers, and how many more bikes and treadmills they can sell from that point, right? My gift for you guys is NNOX. NNOX. NanoX Imaging. What is NanoX Imaging? NanoX Imaging is an Israeli-based company that develops a digital X-ray source enabling cost reductions of imaging systems. I love it. That's the most direct, shortest explanation of a company in my life. I actually love it just because on that fact. I love when things really keep it simple here, and I really do appreciate that. That being said, a very choppy looking stock here. We are seeing some short-term support coming around $39, $40. If we can kind of stay above that range, that could be in the short term just fine. But we were trading in around that 200 EMA here. And if you just look at the basic history of this stock, just this last year or so, it has been very choppy here, really choppy here. And just really, again, I don't know if this is just on data or what, but again, a hardware company sounds a little tough. I'm glad you're back. Here's another one for you, Ken. Pretty new ticker. AHCO, a home healthcare and medical expert supplier services, home and Medicare commercial players. Huh. It's not a SPAC, I hope not. A newer company. Oh, look, was this a SPAC? What? Why is it? Okay, it was a SPAC. Wow, that's a nice looking chart. It's kind of got chopped up here, but it bounced off that $30 range, which is around the 144 range. It's kind of bounced back from that, kind of getting into that level that we've previously seen around $37. So again, I would need to know a little bit more on the backgrounds in the sense of what the company does. You're saying like a home healthcare, of course, that's just going to be a growing thing once the boomers starting to need assistance and things like that. It's going to rock it on FDA approval. Rolling one, I hope you the very best. I'm not going to knock you on it. You do you, my friend, but I've done my fair share of trading on FDA news and stuff like that. You're probably much better than me on it. I'm terrible at it. I don't have the world's greatest patience when I'm looking at a very short term charts. FUTO. Okay. Of course, this has been one as well that we've seen a little bit issues coming in with this one. Again, Chinese. It's not like this is like a Robin Hood kind of completely play here. What a crazy V-shaped recovery here. Look at that. It hit off that 89 EMA around 106 and it just rocketed higher here, coming into some potential overhead resistance around 167 to 170. So yeah, this one is you got to be very careful of this one. This is a pretty insane kind of moves in this chart. So you have to be very careful on that one, Thunder. VZIO. Vizio. This is the I saw this one. I read a report on this one. This is the TV company, right? Yeah, that's yeah, nothing too much I can say about it because there's not too much information there. But yeah, good for them. God bless them. XL, that is, yeah, I don't want to touch that, dude. I don't want to touch that. That's I don't want to bottom fish there, Fuzzy. And what I mean by that is that the XL fleet, again, some of those EV trucking, like mass, like what is it called, like enterprise fleet kind of stuff. Like we're talking about Workhorse, we're talking about Ride, ticker symbol Ride, or Lordstown. We're talking about the N word, Nikola, has been completely demolished on their stuff. And again, I don't know the story behind this one, but I think this one was also a little suspicious on the fact of some of their fleet wasn't completely doing well there. So I wouldn't want to touch this one, in my personal opinion. It's been very much in a downward trend. $551. This is Wells Fargo. WFC, of course, Wells Fargo. The banks have been doing fairly well because I own XLF and I've been fairly happy with my positions in there, my call leaps. Yeah, meandering higher, just kind of kicking it around. Looking here more on the weekly chart here, I want to kind of highlight this just a little bit more on just a larger time frame for folks here. We're coming into that 50 percentile move with earnings starting to kick off. So if you guys don't know, banks are always the first companies to report earnings. So, and again, the earnings season is going to be starting to come out not this coming week, but the following week. And again, banks are always the first companies to report, and they just kind of get the earnings party started. So we'll see how the banks do. Of course, most of the banks are gonna do fairly well with higher yield curves or higher rates, interest rates, and so forth, because of course they can collect more money and they can charge the customer more of a basis points on mortgages, whatever else. They can just tack on higher rate of returns because of that. Of course, that's going to be better beneficial for more than others, depending on how they operate. It's not going to be like a Goldman Sachs going to be able to do more money, because Goldman Sachs more of a institutional investment IPO SPAC kind of workshop, rather than just being, which they have a little bit more consumer facing now, Goldman Sachs, due to the Apple Card. So interesting stuff there as well. So Wells Fargo, still like it here. Got some short-term support around $37. Let's see if it can break above 40. And then you have, what was the other one? CCJ. Yeah, I love this one. This has been getting a pretty aggressive moves here. We've talked about this one. Basically got into this one around, like, what's this? When it broke above $14 into 15. There's been a nice move higher. Got out of it, some of it around 17. But it has been a little bit choppy here. Got back in around that $15 range here, bouncing off the 50 SMA here. Let's see how this one plays out here. I think with higher rates and the yield curve coming in, this could be a very interesting one to hold here, of course, with a lot of the mining stocks and uranium, things like that, could really just take a nice little profit move there. And then, of course, PLTR, another stock that not too unfamiliar to me as well. So with PLTR, it's very much a longer term play for me. I think if all things go well, I think PLTR can hit $37 to $35 this year. But a lot of things have to go well for it, and really, especially with the Nasdaq and a lot of the growth stuff has to come through. At the same time, I think PLTR is like the early stages of Amazon. They're just investing so heavily in their R&D and just their products, and just continuously trying to grasp the market and just be the leader in it. So I love PLTR. We have some short-term support coming around 22. We also have some support coming around 19.95, aka we're going to call it just the $20 range there. Steve says, I haven't heard Nicola mentioned in a minute. Nicola comes up at least once or twice a day for me. And then that, like, if it's a trading day, I'm like, ooh, that looks like Nicola. Like, that's just the saying now. You're welcome, Fuzzy Dice. Can you take a peek at CX? It's a long-term play in infrastructure, and I like the chart. What kind of program am I using? It's called Thinkorswim, my friend, for my charts. CX. I'm not familiar with this one. What is this infrastructure play you're saying? Series operating holding Mexican-based company through operating subsidiaries, Baroness project. This is like a ready mixed concrete arguments cleric. Huh. That's interesting. Steven. I think, did I trade this one? Hold up. Let me open up Tastyworks real fast. I think I traded this son of a bitch. This looks so familiar. Yeah, this looks like crazy insane here. It's really, yeah, I think I traded this one. Hang on, let me prove it. Let me see if I have this. Hold on, let me log in here. Yeah, this is something that's really interesting. Like, this is on a weekly chart. This is like what, 3 years? Yeah, 3-year weekly chart here. A very nice move higher. This is something that we could really see pan out here, if it really does kind of come into those markets that you're talking about. Let me look into my history real fast. This looks, I think I traded this one. I did. I bought it in December 14th. When was that? December 14th. Look at that. Your boy, I had this, and I must have sold it when I hit this $6 range. Yeah, I bought the hell out of it around this range right here. This little move to the 21 EMA right down here. And then sold it up here. Like a noob. I made a little bit of a profit on my calls. They were only trading for 65 cents, and I sold them for over, I made double in them, and they were April options, April 16th. So what are those trading now? Don't tell me. You're gonna make me haunt myself. They're not okay. They're trading on 90 cents. I think it sold for a little over $1. So, but yeah, that's a nice little trade. If that continues to move, it looks like it does have earnings coming out soon. So be mindful about that. But that's a nice looking chart. Yeah, 100% there, dude. Good plays there. ACM. Wow, another beautiful looking chart here. Like, wow, this thing is a nice moving upward trend. Looks super healthy here. Not sure what the company does. What does it do? Is a global infrastructure consulting company. The company provides professional services throughout the project's lifecycle for planning, architectural design, engineering, planning, corporate construction management. Yeah, that sounds like exactly what it should be doing, right? With this potential large infrastructure play. Like, wow, that's a nice chart. Just got to stick with it. You just got to be very careful. If we do get a very aggressive pullback, there could be it could come back. It could come back fairly fast. Yeah, so I use the TTM squeeze. So for example, like Val right now. I like it because the TTM squeeze right now is lit up red, and it went from red to yellow, and it is slightly above the 21 EMA here. So if we get the 5 and 8 to cross through the 21 EMA and really break past that 1750, we could potentially see this run up to 18 or maybe break above that. With the squeeze here, it's a little bit, it's not like a scientifical like indicator. I think most indicators aren't like this is what happens. It has to be a combination of like 4 or 5 other indications and things that you've seen in the past, like pattern recognition in that sense. So most of the times I like to see this kind of wound up, same kind of scenario where stock's been trading sideways, kind of consolidating for a little bit, but it's still pretty close near its highs. That's when the squeeze can really take off and can really substantially make a very large move higher. On the real run, Crown cyber stock undervalued kind of. It helped Facebook SB 500 users. It helped FB for 500 million users thing. CrowdStrike, I like them. Yeah, a lot of, again, you have to remember these growth stocks were hit substantially with that market meltdown, of course, when the yield curves were completely freaking out in that sense, and really seeing these things just completely rocket ship here. Let me pull up something and let me just look at the yields here real fast. Where is that? Let's see here. Let's see here. Market. Let's see here. World commodities yield curves. So I use this, guys. I use this for a lot of things. So we currently see the U.S. Not the versus. Let's go. I don't want to do versus. How do I do? I always mess this thing up. Global yields. Here we go. U.S. So the U.S. 10-year is at like 1.714. Of course, that's kind of been. Most people are like, "Oh my God, like it's up that much." What the people were concerned about and what's really hurting them is basically that the move from basically the beginning of the year, we moved up literally almost 65-70% in that very short period of time. And if we zoom out over the last 5 years, that's a pretty aggressive move higher. Like we've seen that, of course, in the 16 to 17 January timeframe, and at the same time, if you remember that the 17th, or sorry, the 18th, when we saw the yield curve spike down due to the fact of Jerome Powell raising rates too fast, and the market did not like that, and really took a poopy face, and it didn't do very well. But it didn't completely did a reverse bout face there. So with Crowd, it's stuck in that movement, of course, with the potential higher yield coming in, interest rates, blah, 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 blah. Initially speaking here, fantastic company, I believe, fantastic products and services. We are seeing some short-term support coming in around 177 to 175, but at the same time, it's still slightly downward trending here. So if you just want to draw a trend line here, that's basically what we're looking at currently right here. Has not really broken out. We can actually look at this chart as well. It's still kind of the trend, which is in red. If it's a more positive upward moving trend, it would turn like that light blue. But as of right now, it has not. It's trying to break out of that movement. You can kind of see here this candlestick up here is trying to break out of that upper band here to kind of start maybe trading sideways and maybe turning this baby around here for Crowd there. Johnny All Cash, what's up, my friend? Thoughts on SQ turnaround? Of course, I love me some SQ. I love me some PayPal. I believe that I think they're wonderful, fantastic stocks. SQ seeing a little bit of problems again. Like this thing has seen substantial growth here. Look at this. This thing was trading at $32 last year, and it got up to $283. What in God's green earth, right? Like that's insane, right? Looking for this one to potentially kind of trade sideways here, and maybe show some support around 200. and really just kind of seeing on how it impacts with earnings. I still think a lot of people put this in the same camp as the Bitcoin stuff, so you have to be very mindful about that if you want to be to look at that in that scenario. I think it's kind of silly to be like, oh, it's a Bitcoin kind of play here because they own some, but like Tesla also owns Bitcoin, so are you thinking Tesla's a Bitcoin play? So does PayPal, so does so forth. Like I think it's that narrative right now is stuck in so many people's heads, and especially a lot of the talking heads on CNBC and so forth. So a lot of people are just kind of regurgitating that same information, and just that echo and that the ripple effect just kind of hits everyone, and everyone just constantly repeats the same story. I think it's bogus. I think it's stupid. But that's just my honest opinion there. I think SQ is a fantastic stock, and it would be really considered a great recovery play because again, a lot of merchants use Square. Like I went to like a coffee, what was it? What was it? A bakery shop, and they were using Square. I'm like, do you like it? They're like, oh, we love it. I'm like, great, fantastic. Just getting some. Like, I always ask people questions like that when I see things out in the public. But it has been beat down though, Johnny. Like you have to remember, like it has had that amazing run. In the short term, we have some support around 203 and around 200. But it is trying to break back into the 50 SMA, which is around that 235. But if it does start breaking higher, look around 250 to maybe be a little bit of a wall resistance to seeing how that comes out. The real one says CHPT. Yeah, charge. I've seen this one. Of course, this was like also a SPAC here. This is, yeah. I totally believe in the EV movement. That's why I love my Tesla stock. Not my Model X yet because I'm going to get that Model X sooner or later here. Very large move higher. Of course, that infrastructure play. They're talking about a very large expenditure and a large percentage of that going into the EV market. Of course, building out the charging points, building out more credits for people to purchase electric cars, and just really making the switch into the powered of EV cars. With that movement here, we do have some short-term or some support coming in around $25 here. This is a pretty aggressive move higher the past 2 days here. Initially looking for this to maybe level off here around $30 potentially. If $30 does not hold, we can easily see it back down to 27 to even to around 25. But that $30 range is pretty substantial here to kind of break out and maybe see it back up to 32 plus once it kind of gets past that 50 SMA there. What's the spin on the wheel? Yeah, let's do let me see if I can pull up the wheel here. Let's see here. Let's pull her up. Did I have it here? Is it showing up? There she is. Let's do it on charge point, right? Let's spin on charge point. Let me get the tool up here. Why is it gonna let me log in here? What the heck? Hold on, I gotta confirm here. Okay, there it goes. Nope, no ads, please. Thank you. Spin wheel. Let's see here. I got it set up. Yes, here we go. Alrighty, let's go. Let's see here. And spinny spin. There we go. Round and around. What are we going to do with charge point? We're going to sell. Oh, okay, don't own it, so we can't sell it. We can't touch that one. Okay, sorry about that one. We'll come back to the wheel on the next stock there that we like to look at. So hopefully that was that was the wheel. If you haven't seen the Wheel of Destiny of stock picking, it tells us what to do and how to make money. Completely joking though. Fuzzy Dice says thoughts on the fallout of that fund. Yeah, I think there are some buying opportunities. I was never really a fan of any of those stocks. So if you were a fan of those stocks, they came on discount substantially. But a lot of those stocks were growth stocks, and a lot of the stocks were also Chinese stocks, which I don't have the best fundamental diversity analysis in those stocks, to be quite honest. IWM, what do you think about it, Omar? Yeah, I love me some IWM. Of course, that is the Russell 2000 here ETF, like the SPY. It is kind of meandering here around that 221 level, which is a pretty great level that we could see here. Again, it has been meandering here around that 220-ish range, and not really doing much of anything for the last, like, what is this, like month and a half, almost 2 months. We potentially would like to see this back up at 230 to 240 to break out to all new territory. But this thing has been an absolutely rocket ship here, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen it pretty substantially grow here from the bottom that we saw late last year, and really going from 95 to $234. That's a pretty large move. With the infrastructure play and all the rollout and things like that, this could easily continue going higher. But as of right now, it's kind of taking a break here. So we'll see on how this one plays out. Steven says, what does that mean, the TTM squeeze looking for the potential for making larger moves? So the whole theory, Steven, about the TTM squeeze is it is a sorry, my throat's dry. It's basically a contraction of the Bollinger and the Keltner channels. So if you're not familiar with that, so let me go back to Val, because that was the example. So what it's doing, so you're seeing the blue lines here, which are the Keltner channels. Both of these are kind of used between like a volume and trend based kind of like parameters. So when you have the Bollinger Bands, which is probably one of the more basic things that I think people start reading about and learning about on the technical side. Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's one of the first things I read about it. It was quite interesting. So when the Bollinger Bands contract, almost like rubber bands, and you're putting a bunch of rubber bands around a watermelon, I have no idea what the number is and how many rubber bands it takes to pop a watermelon, but I'm sure it's a lot. But let's not get stuck up on watermelon right now. But we're looking for the contraction. So you're seeing the Bollinger Bands kind of squeeze in. That's why it's called like the squeeze, the TTM squeeze. So they squeeze in between the Keltner channels and kind of drive the ticks around more in like a consolidated area to potentially see that pop. Normally, if they're above certain moving averages, the RSI is fairly high, the volume zone oscillator is positive, it could pop higher to break higher. So Val, potentially, if it's staying above 17 to 1750, it could pop higher to that $18 range, which would be the next kind of magnet level, to even higher levels, depending on how really strong this squeeze is. It doesn't matter on like it doesn't matter sometimes on how many days it's in a squeeze. It could be in a squeeze for 3 or 4 days and it can pop up 5 or 10% in a stock. It's really going to coming down to like, okay, it's Val, it's a lithium like play that are people doing right now. It's one of the largest ones out of South America and so forth. So that's basically what people are kind of looking at on this one. So that's basically, I need to probably do a better video on that one to kind of identify and help you out on that one. Johnny All Cash, we haven't done SPY. Yes, we can look at SPY as well. Of course, that's making an all-time high just a couple days ago. On the close of the market, just like hitting 400, just kind of brushing some dirt off its shoulder, and just kind of continue to print higher here. So that's a great sign. But I'm a little cautious. Again, I'm always actually cautious, to be 100% to be clear with you, and seeing how this plays out. But that is a pretty good move here. With the SPY. Initially speaking here, the overall market move that we're looking for just this week is basically plus or minus $3 here. So a good move higher would be around 403 plus, and to the downside would be potentially some support coming in around the 8 EMA, so around 395. David, what's up, my friend? How you been? I've been well. Hope you're doing well, better, my friend. You're finally feeling better. I'm glad to hear that, dude. I've been praying for you. I'm glad to see you back and about, my friend. S says, "Hey Ken, thoughts on Tesla?" Thanks, buddy. Yeah, love me some Tesla. You know that. This is definitely a stock that is kind of got a really good groove in it, and like that market data kind of came out like the last minute, and that completely got a jive with what could really potentially move the stock coming tomorrow, especially with the really robust numbers that we saw come through of, again, making nearly $185,000, 185,000 deliveries. And just 1 year ago, it was around 85,000 deliveries. So pretty large move higher year over year. So that's fantastic. That being said, here we would love to see Tesla break it back above 700. That really level they're going to be looking for is around 750. So that's something they're going to be looking at around those ranges there. Okay, let's see here. Might this thing just chop out? Let's do a couple more, ladies and gentlemen. Thoughts on snow? 30-minute chart looking nice. Yeah, I don't normally look at snow on, or I don't look on charts on a 30-minute chart. But we can kind of look at it on a daily chart. It's looking interesting. This is something that we could see here to kind of start breaking above that 233 range. So that is something that we could potentially could go with. Well, so again, it has been very, very much beaten down here. Very much beaten down here, and really trading at a very low price here compared to other various things that we saw previously. Of course, this was the stock of the year last year when everyone was going gangbusters, and the snow IPO. We had that opening day; it opened up to like 320, and then kind of did next to nothing forever, and so forth, and really just saw it run up to that 430, and now it's been completely a dog here and hasn't really done much of anything. Initially speaking, so was it Steven who asked? So Steven, with the squeeze we're setting up here, we are seeing the RSI kind of coming back. We have the volumes on also trying to go positive. We're trading above the 21 EMA, but we're still substantially below the 200. So we're still somewhat in like a negative trend environment here, and kind of try to prove itself and get us back in positive waters and getting us above water, really. So with that noted, we could easily see this maybe potentially try to get back above to the 220. So what is that? Oh yeah, only $260 range. Because again, we're not seeing any catalyst that I know about via the earnings. So yeah, I think snow could easily maybe make a really strong bounce back, but it's really going to be tied to how the Nasdaq does and how the other growth stocks do fare in that weather. But thoughts on EXPD? Is that Expedia? I don't know this. What is this? What is this? As for goes, it's a logistic company. The company is the third-party logistic provider and purchases cargo space for carriers, including airlines and ocean ships. Oh, is this like a Suez Canal kind of thing? Because that looks like it's kind of ramps up with the Suez Canal conundrum here. Wasn't that like on towards the end of the month here, and really saw it kind of rocket higher here? Interesting. Yeah, that is a pretty large move higher. Again, I'm not sure. The chart looks pretty good here. It looks like it kind of just staircases higher here, but that's a pretty strong aggressive chart. If you've been in this trade here, it looks fantastic here. I don't like to buy that far away from the 21 EMA, so we do have some initial support here coming around 106, but that stronger support is going to be coming around 102 to 100. To the upside, it looks like 110 could be broken, and we could get a nice little move higher here. So that's a very interesting chart there, Brad. That is, yeah, quite impressive here. There's nothing really, Yeah, that's a nice move. So initially, if that momentum can continue, we want to see it hold between that 5 and 8 moving averages. Sophia, we have a great weekend. I did. Hope you did as well. But you're very appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a green energy stock. What do you think for GEVO? Yeah, this one comes up quite a bit here, so I think it has a lot of momentum on the sense of it's getting a lot of attention. Initially speaking here, it has been a little bit choppy here. Again, we had that move from basically 50 cents up to $15.50, so that's a nice little move just among that level there, and looking for some initial support around $10 here, and kind of breaking out there. But that $10 to $8 range is we've seen that chop market. So we'll see on how this one trades coming into the rest of the week here. But that $10 really needs to get above 10.50 to maybe to make that 12.30 range. But it's very choppy here, and really looking for that initial short-term support around $8 to maybe see if it does come down that level, and really looking for that 10 plus to see if it kind of can break out of that range there. FUTO. Yeah, we just did that one, K Thunder, when you asked for it. Yeah, I want to be very careful with that one. Again, I don't know the full fundamental story on that one, especially with the Chinese Robinhood kind of thing, because Robinhood is still in the talks, potentially what I hear, on trying to be IPOing. Hey, Ken, I have some short-term SPY puts looking to sell to close tomorrow since it touched new for trades. Do you think there's another? Do you think there's another bullish rally? Alex is asking for SPY. Yes. So SPY hit an all-time high, hit that $400 range. As of right now, the futures for the S&P 500 is only up 0.5%. Again, yeah, could it come down? It could easily come down. Like, who knows, right? In the short term, like initially speaking, here in the short term, I want to say it's too overvalued, but it's kind of printing green. So statistically speaking, if we get a large move higher come Monday, most likely we could see some selling coming into the end of Monday, or the end of Monday of trading, and even into Tuesday morning. So I'm not sure on how you're wanting to hold that, Alex, on how confident you are in that thesis. But it's hard for me. Like, again, I don't really trade things on that short time frame, so I hope you had a plan on like to get out in certain scenarios, and holding anything over the weekend was probably a little bit tough, to be quite honest, on that short term side of things like that, especially with the jobs report that kind of came out, and that was kind of a pretty large kind of boost higher that we saw, excuse me, in the market there. Let's just do a couple more. Thoughts on Chamath, Clover? Yeah, I wouldn't put Chamath and Clover together. Like he's the social capital SPAC guy, and if Clover approached them or he approached Clover, like you have to understand how that business works. Like most likely his company, Social Capital, did the research and like, oh, it's a great company. We can buy into this and we can play this out and so forth. As of right now, we are seeing some short-term support coming around $7 with Clover, but things aren't looking too pretty over there. We're well below. So just remember, the SPAC price was $10. Okay, we are below $10. The SPAC attacks have been under attack, for the lack of better words. Alex, if you haven't already, just DM me and I can give maybe a little bit better insight on the puts that you potentially can have, and we can look at that and try to help you out. So yeah, $7 for Clover for short-term support, but with that short report that came out, was it Hindenburg who put it out or someone? That is just not a good-looking trend there for me. No pun intended. CC's asking for Skills. What's the ticker for Skills? It's SKLs. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, same kind of play here. the growth stocks that worked last year, they're not going to potentially work again. Like it's not like a uh, normally. So if you're new to trading, what works one year doesn't always translate back into the new year or the following year, because again, just look at AMD. If you looked at AMD, same kind of scenario. This thing was a rocket ship from basically 2019 to 2020, and then from 20 for most of 2020, it was somewhat of a rocket ship. But it's been a very rocky move ever since then. So it doesn't mean that it did great last year. It's got to do great again. So I just want to be completely aligned with you on that. That being said, of course, this was a SPAC as well, if I can remember right. Very large move higher, now coming down very aggressively because, again, that growth movement was so fast and too quick. The stock got away from the whole story of what the company does, and this is what happens with so many stocks of last year, especially between that September, November, uh, uh, September, November timeframe into the end of the year and really into January this year. We saw these really astronomical moves higher here within these growth names. What are the stocks to play on LiDAR tech, Johnny? Honestly, I don't know too much about LiDAR. What was the one? Oh, shoot. You caught me off guard there. I have to look into that. There's one that I always was reading about. I don't know if it was good or not. I don't know too much about LiDAR technology. I just know with the research that Tesla has done and what they've talked about on their conferences and also on their presentations, they're not a fan of it because of the cost, the bulkiness, and the overall the technology basis on it. But then I've also seen it in presentations for NIO, and they like it, and a couple other companies, then they like it, and they're able to use it. Like I think Google, doesn't the Google like auto drive system use it as well? Laser, thank you, Rodriguez. Yeah, that's the one. Laser is the one that I was talking. Look at that light. Yeah, there we go. Rodriguez is in my head. Yeah, very choppy here as well. We have some short-term support coming around $23 to $24. But yeah, just not my favorite thing right now. A little bit choppy here. Maybe taking a small piece here, maybe a small risk here, but you have to kind of keep it on a short leash. We did Tesla. We'll do Tesla here in a second, my friend. Thoughts on FUV? It can't break over 1384. David, let's see here. Yeah, this thing got really beat down. So, looking at here on the daily chart, David, with that move aggressively down here, the trend, it's showing some support here around $12.50 to $12 here, around the 200 EMA. But the trend in the short-term side has not been able to get above the 8 EMA. So the same way on how a very strong upward move can work to the advantage of the moving averages. So when things kind of go parabolic and the trend really gets aggressive here, you can really see the 5 and 8 moving averages move a stock substantially higher here, which you saw that on FUV. It did not break below the 8 EMA for multiple days until it did, and then it kind of broke the short-term trend, aka broke the paper hands, aka broke that people who were betting it in the short term. Whatever, I don't know the reason why, but the growth story in this kind of just took it down here. That also works on the flip side. It has not really got and really stayed above the 8 EMA in any kind of tune here. So really seeing some overhead resistance around 1425 to around 1475 to really see it break and close above that. Really would like to see it well back above 1630, even to 1682, to really see that kind of come back into fruition there, and really seeing it trying to print higher from those levels there. Let's do Tesla, and then we'll call it a night here, ladies and gentlemen. And then we'll look at the overall futures here real fast. It looks like things have slightly changed. It looks like the Nasdaq is basically flat. The Russell and the S&P 500 are still up, so here, that's pretty interesting. Again, things can change literally overnight, so just be mindful about that. Tesla, of course, you know and love. I love my Teslas. Looking for $700 to potentially break. We did talk about this towards the beginning of the stream. The market maker move for this week is $50. That's a pretty intense move for Tesla with no earnings. Again, earnings are looking for towards the end of April, the beginning of May here. So $50 move would potentially put it back up to slightly above that 710 to 700-ish range. But if we really get that market to move, we know that this is something that could be a very impressive move with Tesla, of course, with the fantastic numbers that we saw come out on their deliveries just last week. And then to the flip side, we just really need to highlight the 144 EMA here around 600 to really see that some support coming in around that range. Let's go ahead and dive into the S&P 500 here. Of course, the S&P 500 futures right here, we're seeing it kind of top out here around that $4,000 range. We'll see on how this really comes into. Again, you have to remember, the market's been closed for literally 3 days, so there could be some pent up demand. We had a fantastic, not really fantastic, but a jobs report that was higher than expected in the sense of like creations of jobs and the unemployment going down. So that's good stuff. So that a lot of things could really affect that. Of course, the NASDAQ, we have to look at those yields. So how I look at the yields, I use CohnFin. So I use this for a lot of like more of my fundamental analysis. And of course, you're seeing the 10 years at 1.68 and kind of slightly making its way higher. We want to kind of see that maybe slowly start creeping up, but nothing too intense to really kind of scare people off. So the NASDAQ yield curves, just be careful and kind of keeping your mind in tune with that. And then last but not least, we're going to be looking at the Russell. Of course, this one has been really choppy here, but this is the one that I think could easily potentially break out into all-time highs and looking for 2,400 in the near term. So the move for this one for this week is around, sorry, let me go to IWM to make this a little bit more the cost more a little bit more reasonable there. So the expected move for IWM, I think it was only $3. Oh, it's actually $6. Okay, I'm sorry, I must have thought of something else. So $6 where it's currently trading here can easily get us back up to around that $230 range. So that $230 range could easily, if that's kind of towards the higher end of the chart here, with again that market volatility that we've seen here in the last couple of weeks, this thing could be a nice little move higher here as well. Let's do one more. David, I'll see you tomorrow, my friend. I'm very happy that you're doing much better. Lulu's doing the death cross. So if I'm familiar, what you mean by the death cross is when the 50 crosses through the 200. I use the 55 and the 50. Sorry, I use the 50 SMA, but I use the 200 exponential moving average. So I'm guessing the 200 SMA has crossed through it already. Yeah. I didn't look too much into the earnings report of Lulu, but yeah, this thing has been, I think it was still categorized honestly as a stay-at-home play. Looking here on the weekly chart, doesn't look too pretty here. If that does kind of flush lower, we're looking for some levels around 280 to potentially hold here. We do have some short-term support coming in here on the daily side here around the 295 to 296 here. But if that does not hold, again, we're potentially looking for 280 here. Again, I don't subscribe too much to the death cross because I think it's too much like, okay, sorry, let me rephrase that. I do believe it, and I do subscribe to it because again, so many other people do. So if so many other people believe it, that means it doesn't have to come true. But it's if enough people do believe it, it does come true. If that makes any sense at all. It's 11 o'clock here. I've been in the sun for a couple hours, so I could be just talking completely out of my butthole. But if that makes any sense there, initially speaking here as having a lot of issues getting back above the 200 EMA here. So for the bullish case, it needs to get really back above 318 to 300 here. Yeah. Tesla 1000 price target. I see price targets for Tesla all the time for 3,000, 1,200, 1,500. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, Ken, hope you're doing well, my friend. How's Apple looking for next week? What's up, Paul? Yeah, let's do help out Paul for Apple, and then we'll call it a night here. So next, Paul, I don't trade on like a week to week basis because it's a little bit too much short term for me. But so there is you could potentially trade Apple here. We do have earnings coming out towards the end of the month. So that could be, we could maybe get an earnings run. That usually happens 14 to 21 days into the market move. So towards the end of the month, we're in that potentially sweet zone. We are coming back from a pretty like a large market kind of drawdown coming into February into March, and that April timeframe maybe could reignite some flames for people and really see things kind of pop higher here. With Apple, we have seen some pretty strong support here coming in around the 120 range. So 120, and then we're looking for some stronger support around 115. Do I think it's going to hit there? I don't know. Initially speaking, if it wants to start breaking out, it needs to get really above that 125 range and kind of close above that to really cement some potential bullish staying power here, but really need to get it back above 127 to 128, and you kind of see where that alert is. And I have this white parabolic, or not parabolic, box that I have around here to kind of help me look on where I'm looking to see how Apple trades here. So the overall expected move for Apple this week is plus or minus $3.20. So $3.20 at $123 could potentially get it close to that 127 range, slightly out of that the overall expected move. But if things do go on full throttle and things go fairly well, I think that this maybe could push higher to that level there. But yeah, that 126 to 127 range, I would like to see push there. Thank you for helping me on this Easter night, Ken. You're very welcome, Edward. Very welcome. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. And again, if you guys haven't already, please swing on by to the Discord, completely free. Just post here. Most of the chat happens in the trading live market there as well. But yeah, go ahead and the link in the description. I can actually just post it here now if you like. So if people want to join, again, completely free, no obligations. Just want to try to build a great community with some great traders and investors in there to share their ideas. So yeah, Edward says, can gold go any lower? Does it have a floor below where it shall it pass? Yeah, I was in gold here for a little bit. I got out of it on Friday here. Once I hit that 21 EMA here, I kind of wanted to kind of hold here around 1730-ish range. This is something that has been a little bit having issues to kind of break above here. Does it have a floor? It always has some kind of floor here, but depending on how rates go and how the overall market goes, it does have some potential level of support coming around 1700. That's the level that I'm going to be looking for in the short term. But if that really breaks, that could really carry us lower to well below 16 to maybe even 1625 within the gold market here. Again, we're looking here at the futures market to kind of help us look at that. But as you can see here on the weekly chart, the 5 and 8 moving averages the ticks haven't been even closing above the 8 EMA on the weekly side. So things aren't looking too well in the gold market. But again, if you know, things can turn around pretty fast in the gold market. So on any kind of news, if there's a war or something happens dramatically, gold can spike up easily. So I always like to have a smaller position of gold on hand. I normally just play GLD, but I did unload, take some off the table here coming into the end of the week of last week. But again, we'll see on how it holds and how it trades in the next week or so, and with potentially with the banks reporting, not this week but the following week. That's going to be a really pretty large indicator, I believe, as well, Edward. Bing Zing says, "Hey Ken, my friend, what do you see on U and SE?" Yeah, again, really strong growth stocks. We did cover U towards the beginning of the stream, but yeah, we do have potentially a short-term bottom around $90 to $91 here, but it has been very much beaten down. That's a very aggressive move down, being a Cathie Wood stock, a very heavy growth stock. Initially looking to kind of see it start getting its head back above water here, which would be around that 105 to 107 range. But yeah, that's going to be really much tied to the market move that we're seeing on how it plays out with a lot of those growth stocks. SE, of course, another, not DE, SE, another, this is more impressive move that I've seen in a while here. Very strong bounce off that 144 EMA and actually not getting a back above the 50 SMA, which is quite impressive that it just kind of stopped and it's really ticked out there. Really, again, would love to see this close above 240 or above. But this is a potentially a little bit more a better pattern with you and really seeing how that plays out. Ken, what do you think about the Russian and the Ukraine war? Is it a war or is it more of a standoff, kind of like just flexing right now? Maybe I'm missing the news on that one. I haven't really looked at the news too much today. Is there something I missed today? Russian and Ukraine. So Putin, yeah, Putin being Putin, right? Yeah, they're just building up. Like it's like Putin's like yeah, things are definitely heating up. Again, we can speculate about it and all about it. Like I don't know what's going to happen, and trying to even think of what Putin's capable of. I think everything's on the table, to be quite honestly, when it comes to him. So it's going to be a very large variety show in that sense of what really could happen. But Godspeed and God bless, and hopefully everyone stays safe. Again, the wars are never fun. I don't know where I'm going. I sound like a politician, but yeah, it just sounds like it looks like there's read a couple of headlines. Look like they're just kind of building up and kind of trying to flex and seeing how potential President Biden reacts to that. It looks like, but yeah, something to kind of keep an eye out. That's so we have to remember Russia, very large natural gas kind of conglomerate companies out there. So they control a lot of the heating stuff, especially for Europe, and of course the eastern side of Europe are always very cold winters, and of course Russia has a very large supplier in that. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic evening, and I'll see everyone on Monday, probably with a new video. I don't know if we're going to live stream on Monday, but we'll just have to go from there. Again, guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.